What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Christian Hanna Horror here today, and today, guys, we're back with another Horror Blu-rays I want you to own, volume whatever. The volume number will be in the video. Spirit Halloweens are opening up, so everybody be safe going out to your Spirit Halloweens. Get some really cool stuff. I'll probably take my first visit sometime next weekend, but until then, you guys be safe doing that, but save a little bit of money, because I've got some Blu-rays that I want to share with you guys that I think is worth you owning if you are so inclined to. I'm actually going to start this off with a fresh cut. This is a movie that just came out called Sundown, The Vampire in Retreat from Vestron Video. And I enjoyed this. What a cast. You've got David Carradine, Maxwell Caulfield, Morgan Brittany, Bruce Campbell, Jim Metzler, John Ireland. I recognized a lot of people in this movie from different movies over the years that I've seen. There was somebody from Family Ties, the TV show that I found in here. Obviously, Dana Ashbrook's in here, who I'm a huge fan of Dana Ashbrook from Return of the Living Dead Part 2 and shows like Twin Peaks. But Sundown, The Vampire Retreat was a really fun movie. I really enjoyed it. It's a Western comedy vampire film. There's some really cool stop-motion claymation stuff in the film that I really liked. I think it's definitely worth you grabbing. It's only $12. Vestron is killing it with this price point. If they keep this up, they're going to own the market. This is so awesome. Good special features. They do have an interview with Bruce Campbell, which was great. So good special features, commentaries, interviews with the cast and crew. Really fun little movie. From what I understand, this movie was like the town that it was from, Purgatory. It was kind of got lost in there. Didn't really get much of a release, if memory serves, and was out on video, but really the TV, but never really got a good push back in its day. And this is from 1989, so it's a little late 80s vampire flick. Very charming, very fun, worth a pickup. So, Sundown, The Vampire in Retreat is a great one to start out with. Next, I'm going to go with a Frank Henenlotter film. And if you know Frank Henenlotter, you know his reputation and the films he makes. He makes really crazy films. And one of my all-time favorites is this one right here, and I realized I had never done it before on this series. Frankenhooker is an all-time favorite. This movie is hilarious. It's sexy, it's funny, it's gross, it's sleazy. It's a Frank Henenlotter film. Now, what's really funny is the quote at the bottom, if you only see one movie this year, it should be Frankenhooker from Bill Murray. Now, I don't know that Bill Murray actually saw this film, or if he just said that. I think he might have just said that as a joke, but I think if he did see the movie, then he's right, and the truth. This is a really fun movie, at least from 1990. Frankenhooker is hilarious. It makes you feel dirty for liking it, but in all the right ways. Like, it's really a classic film. I got so much love for Frankenhooker. And a funny side note that there's this really legendary VHS for Frankenhooker that I actually think you could press a button and the girl made a noise on it. But it's really great. I'm a huge Frankenhooker fan. I urge you guys to grab this one from Synapse, the good people over at Synapse. It's a lovely release. Special features include audio commentary with Gabe Bartalos and Frank Henenlotter. A salad that was once named Elizabeth, a Patty Mullen featurette. Patty Mullen is amazing in this. She just goes for it. She has a great sense of humor, and that's why the film works, by the way. A Stitch in Time, the makeup effects of Frankenhooker featurette. Turning Tricks, Jennifer Delora, Remembering Frankenhooker, and Jennifer Delora's Frankenhooker photo scrapbook featurette and the theatrical trailer. Great little release, Frankenhooker. If you don't want this, you can get the Arrow Video Blu-ray, and I do believe that's region-free, but please double-check on your own research to make sure, because I don't want to tell you guys wrong information. But if memory serves, I believe it was region-free. But give the people at Synapse a shot. They did a great job with that. So, yeah, next we're going to go with a movie for the Buddy Cop fans. Now, if you're a Buddy Cop fan like me, you love a good Buddy Cop horror movie, but have you ever seen a Buddy Cop horror flick? If you haven't, look no further than Dead Heat. Dead Heat is an extremely entertaining, fun, almost zombie-like cop thriller comedy horror movie. Emphasis on cop and horror. Joe Piscopo and Treat Williams are a, no pun intended, treat in this movie. Very entertaining. This is a Midnight Madness Blu-ray from Image Entertainment. This movie needs a newer release, but I feel this is all we're going to get. So that's why I've kind of held off from putting this in this series. But I think that this Dead Heat Blu-ray is going to be the best we're going to get for quite some time. I could be wrong. It doesn't look bad, but don't expect it to look pristine and amazing. But it's certainly the best it can look from whatever materials they were using. But regardless, I love this movie. I don't think there's any special features on here, but this is a movie you should own because it is hilarious. Fans of Joe Piscopo know how funny he is. Dead Heat is really good. There's some really crazy scenes in here that blew me away, and the special makeup effects work on some of these guys is fantastic. It's a really fun horror comedy cop buddy movie. Never thought I would see a movie that mixed those together, but I'm so glad I did, and that movie is called Dead Heat. The next is a two-for-oneer. I'm actually going to go with the Tales from the Crypt movies from Scream Factory, Bordello of Blood, and Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. I think these are both very entertaining films. Now, Demon Knight is certainly the fan favorite between the two, but I'm actually a Bordello of Blood guy. I really like the Bordello of Blood. It's sleazy. It's funny. It's got Corey Feldman in it. It's got Chris Sarandon in it. Really a funny movie. I think Demon Knight actually is more of just like that darker horror theme movie that a lot of people like. It's well made. It's certainly very well made, and I agree, and I understand why it's the fan favorite of the two. They're both fantastic. Now, Scream Factory did a great job of both of these releases, and you can't get one without the other. You got to go for both of them. So I figured, why not just show both of these in here? So Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood, very, very, very fun 90s movies, very fun Tales from the Crypt movies. Quite frankly, these are my favorite things from Tales from the Crypt, period. I love the show. I love episodes with Morton Downey Jr., which is one of my favorites. I love the one that has Iggy Pop performing in the beginning, the music, the Rock Club episode, obviously All Through the Night, the Christmas episode. The one that Michael J. Fox directed was great. The one Arnold Schwarzenegger directed was great. There's a lot of great stuff from the show, but the movies are actually my favorite thing about Tales from the Crypt. So definitely pick those two up from Scream Factory. Number one on this video is a movie I've never talked about before, and people may be shocked to see that I'm a massive fan of this. You may not. This movie can be defined as many things, but to me, I think horror is a safe assumption of what you could put it into. It's a movie that horror fans certainly have adopted as one of their own, but this guy has a fan base all to its own just when you say the name. It is a David Lynch movie. My number one pickup for this video, or number one recommendation for this video, is David Lynch's Eraserhead. This movie is one of the most bizarre, amazing, dark, grotesque, beautiful, scary, haunting, dreamlike, thought-provoking, gross movies I've ever seen. And I don't think it could ever be made today. Not because of PC culture or anything like that. It's just, this movie, you got to think about when it came out in the late 70s. Still, I can't imagine how much it shocked audiences back then. How much less it shocks me now. I'm more desensitized to stuff, and even so, this movie was insane. I don't know what else to say. It was purely and simply insane. But the thing about this Criterion release is how absolutely stunningly beautiful the movie looked. I couldn't believe how good the picture was, how good the audio was. This movie is insanely trippy. It is amazing. Those who know it, but those that may not have ever dove into David Lynch, because it's kind of daunting to see where to start. Do you start with Twin Peaks? Do you start with Eraserhead? Do you start with Dune? Do you start with Mulholland Drive? Where do you go? Where do you hop on the David Lynch train? I wouldn't think about it that way. I would just, I went into David Lynch with Twin Peaks, but that was through happenstance with my wife, who's a fan of the show. I just thought about the reputation I've heard from this movie, Eraserhead, not so much David Lynch's aura and who he is as a director and his filmography. And that was how I approached the film, and I was very satisfied. Now, as a David Lynch fan now, this is my favorite David Lynch film. I love Eraserhead. I think it is quite simply amazing, and I think you got to go for it. I think you got to check the movie out. Now, this Criterion release is beautiful. Just beautiful. Criterion releases are loaded with special features, extras, you name it. So this is a must-own, I think, is the David Lynch Eraserhead Criterion. So those are 5 horror Blu-rays, technically 6 because I doubled up the Tales from the Crypt episodes, but movies, excuse me. Those are horror Blu-rays. I want you to own volume whatever. I need to be better about remembering the volumes. I figure it out, and they're right on the video title, but I never remember when I'm making a video. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Again, guys, Spirit Halloweens are opening. Get yourself some good stuff, but save a few money and pick up a few Blu-rays. Keep physical media alive. I'll thank you for it, and you'll have great entertainment that you can watch whenever you want. So This is Christian Hanna Horror. I love you guys, and we'll see you very, very soon.